Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jack. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use N8N with Google Sheets to build a semi-automated video production workflow that works for any kind of content. So whether you are creating news commentary, horror stories, anime fan fiction, or developing your own unique videos, this workflow can help you get it done with ease. As many of you already know, our video production workflow uses DeepSeek to generate scripts based on your topic. Then we send the script to Amazon Poly for AI voiceover, and the audio is combined with your pre-prepared video clips using my custom video editing tool, which merges everything and uploads the final video to YouTube. So today we will focus on the first part of the process, which is using DeepSeek to create and manage the script. Today's tutorial is divided into 3 parts. The first step, we will add new nodes to the existing automation workflow, allowing DeepSeek to generate script to be written to both Google Document and Google Sheets. So in this way, you can review and edit the content directly in the sheet, and once it is finalized, we will use it for the rest of the video production. The step 2, we will add a few new nodes to record the status of the entire N8N workflow back to the Google Sheets. And you will clearly see what stage each video is at, whether it's pending review, in progress, or complete. And then the last step, we will teach you how to start the video creation process directly from your own video titles and descriptions. So just filling them into your Google Sheets, and N8N will send them to DeepSeek to generate a script. You can review and modify it in the sheet as usual, and then continue the automated process. So now let's look at the first demo. So right now we're going to do the first semi-automated workflow, which this Google Sheet will record all the N8N status, and also there will be a Google document that shows the script created by DeepSeek. So you can do your review and edit there, and we will send it back to N8N workflow and continue to create the video based on that. So now in here you can see we have a status called creating plot and then review plot. And in here we will have a document in here. If I go to here, we will see the script created by DeepSeek. So you can do your edit or review in here. So once I've reviewed the plot, then I will come to here and then say approved. Then the N8N workflow will go back to this Google Sheet, get the Google document, and then use it as our video content, send it to Amazon Poly to do the AI voiceover, and then continue to do the rest. And at the end, we will have the YouTube video upload. So now let's go to my YouTube channel, and you will see a YouTube video here. So this is the Naruto video. So this is the second demo. For this time, we will not use DeepSeek to generate the video title. We will put our own video title and description in there and ask DeepSeek to generate the plot based on that. And for the rest, it is the same as the first demo. So you can review and edit the plot in the Google documents. So as you can see here, we still have the Google document. So after I review it, then I will say approve. Then the N8N workflow will come back to this Google Sheet, get the context from the Google document, and then continue to create the audio and the video, and also upload it to YouTube. So now let's check out the video. And speaking of using AI to generate the plot, I want to share a powerful tool with you. So right now I'm going to show you step by step how to do the settings, for the API keys, and also how to create the workflows for the semi-automated workflow. So the first thing we need to do is to go to Google Cloud, which is Google Console. So I guess you all are familiar with this one because we have been using this to do our API keys with Google and YouTube. So now today we have to go to search Google Sheets because we need to have the Google Sheets API. And then in here you should have enabled, if you are the first time to use this Google Sheets API, then you will hit enable in here because I have done this before, so I have managed in here. And then once you have done this, then we will go to search Google Document. We just need to do the same thing because in our workflow, we need to have Google Sheets, Google Document, and Google Drive API. So also enable Google Documents API. And then once it is done, we go to the very last one, which is Google Drive. So in here, do the same thing. Just enable the Google Drive API. And then we should have all the API settings already done. So what we're going to do is we will go to Google Drive, create a new folder, and then all our Google documents will go to that folder. So what are those Google documents? So basically, we would ask DeepSeek to generate the script for us, right? And then we are going to put those script into a Google document, and then also we'll put it in the Google Drive folder. And then we will put it back to the Google Sheets in here. So you can see in this one, in the column plot, I have some Google documents in here. So these are the plot that created by DeepSeek. And we're going to refill this script in here. You can do all your adjustment, add the content, editing in here. Then we will pass this whole context to Amazon Prodi to do the AI voiceover directly. So now we will go to Google Drive. So here's my Google Drive. What you need to do is to click new and then new folder. In here, I would say N8N Pets and then create. So I have a folder. You see I have two folders. This one is for the previous testing. This one is the one that we just built, okay? And then you will need to go to my Google Sheets and then to clone it, make a copy, and then put it in this folder. I will have the link to my Google Sheets in my Patreon post. All you need to do is just go to my Patreon post, find that link. So you should have this link to my Google Sheets, which is this one here. When you see this, we should have nothing in here but I'm still doing the demo and then recording this video, so I have some records in here. But when you come to this file, it should be clean and all empty, just with the column names in here. All you need to do is just click File, make a copy. I'll just name it as N8N Video Automation. And then for the folder, we go to the one that you just create, which is N8N Test for my case. Okay, and select and then make a copy. And for my case, I'll just delete all these rows. All right, then we are good to go. So now we are going back to the N8N workflow. You can actually do this semi-automation, and this can apply to all the workflows that I shared with you guys. So you can do it for the news commentary video generator. You can do it with the horror story video generator and anime fanfiction, all this stuff you can do. So for my case, this time I use anime fanfiction generator to do as an example. And before we get started, I want to explain some concepts. So for today's tutorial, we are only focused on all the nodes before Prodi in here. So because what we're going to do is to ask DeepSeek to create the plot, and then we're going to refill the plot or bring those N8N status to the Google Sheets in here, right? So all we need to do is just add the nodes for this part. And after all those plot is done, then we will still pass it to Amazon Prodi to do the AI voiceover. So theoretically, we are not going to touch any nodes after Prodi. Okay, so keep that in mind, and then we will get started right now. So the first thing that we are going to do is that we come to the very beginning. After set variables in here, we click add, and then the first thing we have to do is to do a date and time, and then we're going to get the current date, and that's it. So why we need to have this one? Because if we go back to our Google Sheets, you will see we have a column called ID in here. And basically we don't have any ID. So we need to create a date and time, and then we will use that value as our ID. So you can see in here for this ID, it is the current date, the time, because it has to be a unique value. So date and time is a good value for us to do it as a ID. So after this part, we're going to search Google Sheets, and then we're going to append row in Sheets. So in here, if this is your first time to set up the Google Sheets node, you have to create the new credentials. But remember, these credentials are all the same to the one that you are doing with the YouTube API key. So all you need to do is just put your client ID and client secret, which is the same as the YouTube API key, and then do the login again, then you're good to go. And then once you have done the credentials, in here documents, if you click here, you should find the Google Sheets that you just clone or you just create. For my case, it is called N8N Video Automation. I'll click this one. And then for the sheets, because if you go back to here, we can create multiple sheets. So for my case, I just only have one sheet. So in here, I'll say sheet 1. All right. So let me remove these 2 rows. In here, why we are doing append a new row, because in our Google Sheets, you should have a empty sheets in here. You should have nothing in here. So what we need to do is to ask N8N help us to append a new row, put the ID, and then put the status in here. Then we will start creating the title. So this is what we're going to do. So if we come back to this node, in here, N8N status, we will say creating title. And then for the ID, we would use the ID, which is the current date from the date and time node. So we're saying JSON.currentDate. So we can bring back that variables and then put it in here. So let me rename this node, because we're going to do a lot of nodes with Google Sheets. Here I will say create row in Google Sheets so we can know what this node is doing. So in here, let me do a test workflow first. You can see in here, this Google Sheets is empty. But if I come to here and then do test workflow, we go back to the sheets, then you will see we have the status and the ID. And then, which means we're good to go. Yeah. So let me connect this back to here and then click save. All right. So after this node, we're going to ask DeepSeek to generate the title for us. And then for this code node, we are going to format the title and then the description as well. And then for this part, since we have already got our title, and then we're going to use that title to create the plot, right? And then in between these 2 nodes, we are going to update the N8N status and also update the video title and video content description. So in here, we are going to use Google Sheets again, but this time we're going to update row. So you choose the document, the sheet, and then in here we use, this time for the column to match on, we are going to do ID. Because we have an ID in here, so we're going to match on the ID, and then we will be referenced to this row, and then we are able to update the video title and content description, and also the N8N status. So in here ID, we click expressions, and then we're going to do this date and time.last.json.currentState. And then for the N8N status, we do creating plot, which is the step that we are going to do next. And then for the video title, we'll use the video title and description from the previous node, which is code in here. because this node we're going to generate a script and the title. You can see here return script and return title. So back to this node, we're going to get that variables, put it in here, and then we're going to update it in our Google Sheets. And then for this part, I'm going to rename this node as well. Updates video title and description. All right, and then we're going to wire them up. For this part in the middle, we don't have to touch it. And then for the next one, so in this node, we're going to summarize the plot that generated by DeepSeek, right? And then we're going to have a whole paragraph for the whole video content. So after this one, we're going to upload these contents to Google document. This time we have to search Google document, and then we're going to create a document. Like I said at the very beginning, you have to do the credentials in here. This is the same as the YouTube API key. And then for the drive name, we put my drive in here, and then folder name. Folder name is the one that we created earlier in the Google Drive. So you pick the one that you create in the Google Drive. And then for the title, we are going to name the Google document with the video title. So we go back to the code node, get that video title, and then put it in here as the name of the Google document. And then let me rename this one, create Google Doc. The next thing that we're going to do is to upload the paragraph to this Google document. So we go back to Google Doc. And then this time we pick update the document. For the document ID, because in the previous node, we are going to create a Google document, right? And then for the output, there would be a Google document ID. So we can use that one, put it back to here, so we can reference back to that document and then upload or insert the context that we are going to do. So in here, we put create Google document, which is the previous node name, and then .last.json.id. And then for here, we just have to put summarize.last.json.concatenate script. So we can put the test in here, so we can insert the test. And also I'm going to rename this as upload Google document. All right. And since we have uploaded our Google document, so we're going to do a updates row to our Google Sheets again. So for the ID, we're going to do the same ID, which is the current date from date and time node. And then for the status, since we have already uploaded the Google document, so the next step is to refill the plot. And then for the user approval, it is pending, because we haven't finished the refill yet, right? And then for the video title and content description, we don't have to touch that. You can remove it actually, but I'm just leaving it here. And then for the plot, this one in here for the plot, we're going to put the Google document link in here. So I will put https://docs.google.com/document/d/ and then for the last part, this is the Google document ID. For the very beginning part, this is a standard one. This is the link for the Google document. This is standard, but at the very last part, it is a Google document ID. So by doing this, we can combine them as a Google link. Then after doing this, we should be able to upload the Google document and also put the link to here under the plot column. And then the next thing that we're going to do is to do a branch. So we're going to find Google Sheets, and then we will pick get row for this time. Let's finish the node in here, and then I'll explain what we're going to do with this node. So we say check Google Sheets, and then in here we pick the same document. And then for the filter, we do ID, and then for the value, we do the same, the current state, because we will always want to get that row. So why are we doing this in here? Because if we go back to our Google Sheets, I just filled the Google Sheets in here, but actually, if we have come to this node, which means that we have already uploaded the Google document, and also the user approval is set to be pending, the N8N status is set to be with full plot. So this one should be with full plot in here. So this would be the case or the status that you are going to have at that moment. And then what we need to do is to check the Google Sheets and check whether this user approval value is changed from pending to approved. So once you have finished reviewing this plot, then you will come to here. Originally it is pending. And then once you have finished your editing, then you will come to here and then change it to approved. And by doing this, it will let us, which is the N8N, know the document is ready and we are good to go to continue to create the video. We need to have a node or a branch to check whether this value is changed from pending to approved. So here we are going to do a if branch. So we have to search if in here, and then for the value, we're doing expression again, and then we pick JSON user approval. And then for the value 2, we put approved in here. So in here, you will be clearly see that we have two results from this if branch. First one is true, second one is false. What does it mean? For the first one, true, which means the value that we get from the user approval, which is the status in here, if it is equal to approved, then it is true, and then we will continue to pass the context to Poly to do the AI voiceover, and then we will continue to generate the video. But if it is not equal to approved, which means it should be pending, right? If it is equal to pending, then we will go to false route in here. In here, we will add wait. For the wait amount, I would say 1, and then wait unit is minutes. So which means we will wait for 1 minute. And then we're going to route this back to check Google Sheets. Why we're doing this? Because if this user approval is still pending, which means you are still reviewing the plot, it is not ready yet, then we don't want to pass this context, this paragraph, to the Amazon Poly to do the AI voiceover. So we have to wait until the user approval is changed to approved. So we will keep doing this loop, and then once you have set it as approved, and then this check Google Sheets node will get that value, which is approved, and then we will do a if branch again. In here, it should be equal to approved because you have set it in the Google Sheets, right? And then we will continue to pass the paragraph to Poly to do the AI voiceover. So this is how we do the if branch to help us to do a check in here. So after this if branch, we are going to first update the N8N status. So we will go back to updates row. We'll keep using this node to help us to update the N8N status. So you should be very familiar with this one after doing this workflow. So we'll do ID matching with the current state, and then in here N8N status. The next step we're going to do is to create the audio. So I'll say creating audio in here. For the rest, we don't have to touch it. And then a good approach, a good practice is always rename the okay. And then we are almost done. So once you have updated the N8N status, then what we need to do is to go back to the Google document and then get the Google document that you just did the edit. So in here, we get the Google document, and then document ID is the ID from the create Google document node. All right. One last thing, we will open the Poly node. In here, script, you have to change it to content, which is referring to the previous node, which is this one, Google document, because the output of the Google document is content. So we have to change this node, this variable, back to json.content. And then we're good to go. So we are basically done for the first part of our tutorial. By doing this, you can review these data in here, and also you can review the plot in here. And then, so once you have done the review, then you will say approved. And then we will go to the first route and then send the paragraph to Amazon Poly to do the AI voiceover, and then we will continue to do the video creation. Just one thing that you have to keep in mind is that for this if branch, this value, I mean the value under user approval, this is case sensitive. So if you put uppercase approved in here, it has to be the same. If you put lowercase in here, it doesn't work. So you have to bear this in mind. And now we're going to do the second thing, which is keep updating the N8N status, which is something that we have been doing already. So you just have to do 2 more nodes. So I assume you don't do the subtitles in here. So you can come to generate video, and then before this, we add a Google Sheets, update row. We do the same thing. We just want to update the N8N status. So in here, column to match on is ID, and then remember it's expression, and then date and time, and then in here N8N status, we say creating video. And then at the very end, we do the same thing. Google Sheets. This time we will say upload to YouTube. Alright, so that's it for the first 2 things that I was going to tell you. By doing this, we're able to do the N8N status report in here, and also you can review the plot, approve it, then we will continue to do the video. And now I'm going to show you the last part. So instead of having DeepSeek to create the video title and content description, this time we want to pass our own video title and description to DeepSeek to generate the plot. So what you can do is that you can come to the same workflow. And this time, since we are not going to generate the title, so we can delete this and also the code. And also create row, because we will manually create the row in here. For example, this time around, I have my own video title, which is Naruto. I don't know, Naruto versus Dragon Ball, maybe. And then the description is, I don't know, I don't even want to type the description, so just leave it here. Okay, and then, so what we have to do is just remove this node, and then before date and time, we're going to do a Google Sheets node, and this time we're going to get the row, because we want to get this row and then bring it to our N8N workflow. So we pick the document, and then for the footers, we will say N8N status. For the column, for the value, it is empty, because theoretically all the rows should have N8N status if we have started the workflow or we have started the whole process. It should be uploaded to YouTube. Yeah, all of them should be uploaded to YouTube. And then for the empty one, you should only have one empty N8N status in here, which is this new row that you have just manually input. So this is the row that we are going to create the video on. So that's why we have the N8N status as empty. And then we will be able to get this row. We were able to get that video title and content description as well. So now we have to rename this to get video title and content description. Then we're good to go. And then for this node, we have to change something. The first thing, we have to change the name. This time I say update status, generating plot. And then we shouldn't have any ID in here yet because this ID should be empty. So we are going to mesh on the row number. And then the row number is coming from the previous node, which is this one, get video title here. So we should have a row number from this node, and then we're going to pass it and use it in here to do the matching. And then for the N8N status, it is creating plot. For the video title and description, we shouldn't have these two things. So you can remove this from here, or you can simply just remove the column. And then for the ID, yes, we're going to put the ID here. All right, so, and then the main part is that we open the DeepSeek node. In here, you will see these things is in red. Why is it? Because we don't even have the code node, because we just remove it, right? So what you need to do is to change these to the one that you put in Google Sheets. So we're going to put this in here. So we will say based on the following title, and this node is get video title and content description, which is the first node that you did by getting the row from Google Sheets. And then we do .json, the last .json, video title, which is the video title from here. And then the description, which is the one from here, but for my case, it is empty. And remember to do every DeepSeek node because they should all be the same. And then the very last thing we need to do is open this create YouTube project, because in here for the title, we use the title from the code in our previous workflow, but for this time we don't even have the code node, so we have to change this to this one, get video title and content description .last.json video title, and that's it. So by doing this, you will be able to put your own video title and description in here. Then you will be able to send this back to N8N workflow and then start doing the video generation. So that's it for today. If you want to use my workflow or you want to use this video generator, you can join my Patreon and I will see you in my Discord channel. And for those of my subscribers, once again, thank you all for subscribing. And if you have any questions, just ask me in Discord and I'm happy to answer your questions. So that's all for today. Bye.